Hello, everybody.
Hi,
Welcome back to the Gamestore Guardians. I'm Will.
Mike.
All right. Again, we're on our irregular schedule.
Yeah, we do it whenever it comes out,
Yes, whenever we have a
whenever we
chance,
can.
and whenever
Yeah.
whenever Mike doesn't have a concussion is when we do the podcast.
Well, if that was waiting, then we wouldn't have one for a while, right?
True. All right. So we've been gone for a little bit. What have you
Little
been
bit.
up to since you've been on your medical vacation?
On the mend. On the mend. I've mostly been watching Netflix, catching up on some Disney Plus, and
Nice.
a little bit of painting, a little bit of building. I mentioned before that I went ham and built everything, so I'm still in the middle of painting. So most recently, there goes my cat.
Yep.
Most recently, I've been painting Nick Fury Sr. and the Howling Commandos
Okay.
and Toad were my most recent ones.
I thought you had Toad painted.
I have Toad. It was not painted.
Oh, I thought you had him painted already.
No.
Wow.
I know. I'm still missing some like big name people. I'm missing a bunch of Guardians of the Galaxy characters. I'm missing Shuri Okoye. I'm missing Rogue Gambit. There's some good boxes that I've yet to buy yet, but that's only because I haven't put them in a team yet.
Gotcha.
Like once I need them for a team, which honestly I could use all of them in a team that I pretty much named, but I just haven't gone through with it yet.
See where that's the.
I think it's because I bought the Sentinels and I bought Red Skull, and I need to put those together too, and then see if they fit in my case, which I didn't. I hope they do.
Yeah, I meant to try out. I meant to see if Leo's Sentinel Prime fit in my case when I was there, and I just forgot to try it.
I figured that worst case scenario, if like tall wise they don't fit, that I would just kind of like arch them over a little bit so it looks like they're like looming down, on like whoever they're attacking.
Yeah, my thing is I have the side magnetized in my case. I could always just pop them down sideways.
Yeah. So I'm either gonna cut them at the waist and magnetize them, or just make them have like old back problems. You know what I mean? They're like old men.
I don't know about cutting them at the waist. That could be a little sketchy.
No, you can cut them and just put magnets. Just drill magnets in the top and bottom. It'll be flat.
Okay. Awesome. Well,
I've done it before.
Okay. Well, what did I pick up? I picked up Daredevil and the Ninjas.
Right. Yeah. You said you've been liking Shadowlands Daredevil, huh?
Yes, and I painted.
I told you come to the dark side, man.
Well, they're the morally.
We've been having fun over here for a while.
They're the morally gray side.
Yeah.
So, so I painted up Daredevil and I painted up the Ninjas and I primed Elektra. I have not painted her yet. And then
I got to paint it too.
Yeah, and then I picked up Sin and Viper because my original.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, my original thought was I'm going to put Sin in Criminal Syndicate, and then like yesterday I'm like, oh well, I wonder how Killmonger and Sabretooth would act well in this, and the answer is they act very well in it.
I mean, Killmonger is very good.
I've never used him, and I never used Sabretooth before. And
Sabretooth having like a long move and aggressive, and he's just always on you, right?
Yeah.
He has a counterattack.
Yep.
He's just very good. And you can use exceptional healing factor. It's just a good time, right?
Yeah.
He's got ears, I think, on his builder.
Yes, he does. So very fun character. I'll talk more about that later. But other than that, I'm trying to think. I've been tweaking around with Shield and Criminal Syndicate.
Right.
Two opposite sides of the coin.
I haven't gotten into Shield yet. I haven't bought Nick Fury yet, Junior.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The Samuel L. Fury.
Yeah, I haven't gotten him yet. I do plan on getting him. I want to try. You know how I like to mix it up, find things that are unaffiliated that work. So like I got to figure out what's going to fit in there. But I've played against Shield. I played against Shield
Tuesday.
Tuesday. I played against a Malekith Shield.
Yeah,
and
that was Tommy.
Yeah.
Tommy goes to East Coast Gamers all the time. I've only beaten that man once, and it was in a non-tournament setting, and I'm real salty about it.
That's okay. I've only beat Art once, and that was also in a non-tournament setting.
Yeah, I think I almost beat Art at the last tournament once. But I played Tommy with Winter Guard, like the week Winter Guard came out.
Yeah,
and I want to beat in his Shield. But no, he's a very good Shield player.
Yeah, he seems like a very good Shield player.
Yes.
And even I was giving him a bunch of stuff into that Malekith, and it was still not happening. which is rough. I threw a She-Hulk and a Scarlet Witch at it, and nope, didn't care.
Nice. Yeah, Malekith is
I was A-Force. I had Stalwart Determination. He couldn't throw me. It was like all this stuff.
I heard you using Stalwart Determination. Like, he's using A-Force?
I know. I have a Hydra A-Force list that I really enjoy, which I might end up playing this week.
Nice.
I'm thinking about it. I really have to... If I can paint Scarlet Witch and Red Skull Hydra Troopers by the weekend, I will do it.
Listen, there's plenty of gray at East Coast gamers.
Tomorrow, I guess.
Plenty of gray at East Coast gamers.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't like that.
I know. Me neither.
But yeah, so if I can get that done tomorrow, then I'll do it. If not, I'll play something else because I just really enjoy the list. It's not very good into Malekith, and I hope... Are there a lot of Malekith players at East Coast?
Well, now Tommy.
Yeah.
Art was going to use him. He decided not to. He went back to Thanos.
Yep.
Rob uses them occasionally, I think, and Bradley, who's been there a few times, uses them occasionally. Yep. He was at the last tournament. Their cat's back. There's Malekith. Yeah. But there's not... I mean... I'd say yes, but there's not always a lot of Malekiths on the table.
All right. Like, I mean, that's fine. Whatever. I'll figure it out.
He's one of those characters that's brought but not always used.
Yeah. Speaking of against Malekith, I've made a plan through TTS League of how to play defenders into Malekith, so I'm trying that out.
Nice. And what are you going to reveal your plan or no?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you about it. It's Strange with the Soul Gem.
Okay.
So it's 17. This is like a 17 idea, right?
Okay.
Ancient One, Luke Cage,
okay,
and the last 4 is Vision. Or it could be Vision or Crimson Dynamo for the unaffiliated slot. Then I'm leaning Vision just because he does more damage than Crimson Dynamo does, but Crimson Dynamo will stop him dealing damage to me.
Yeah, and Crimson Dynamo has the damage reduction as well.
He has damage reduction, he has shock, and he has the rerolls. So it's actually pretty good against Malekith, because you can get rid of, like, a Pierce, right? If they have a Pierce.
I was actually thinking of putting Crimson Dynamo in my list before I put Sabretooth in there.
Yeah, he's very good against Malekith.
Yeah, it's just
but so is Vision.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I don't know which one I would pick yet. I have both of them in the list just to, like, give me a chance of, like, the day of, like, which one do I feel like playing, and then kicking myself in the pants for taking the other one, right?
Yeah, well, you bring your whole collection anyway, so...
I do bring... I may not bring it to East Coast, right? I was thinking about that, actually. I was like, maybe I should just bring one of the magnetic slides and just bring the team that I need. Instead of bringing everything. So that way I don't have to bring it all the way down there.
True.
Because I don't think I'm going to play any bonus matches or anything.
No, there's usually not time. Usually by the time we're wrapping up, they're about to close up anyway, so...
All right.
Yeah, because they close kind of early on Saturdays. Unless it's a Magic weekend.
Got it.
Yeah. So
what's been going on? What do we got coming up?
Right now, well, Pyro is kind of old news, but I would like to touch on him real quick.
Sure. Let me ask, did you paint anything? Did you get anything done? How was your weeks?
I painted Daredevil. I painted the Ninjas.
Oh, right. You did.
Yeah, and
What did you play at Red Seal this week?
I played, I brought Shield and I brought Criminal Syndicate.
Yeah.
And I was going to play one of each. But then when I walked in, there was like 2 or 3 people playing Shield. I'm like, I'm not playing Shield 2. So that's why I played 2 games with Criminals. And my first one was against Art. And I just got Thanos. Because I just have not played Criminal Syndicate into Thanos. And it was a rough time. I should have focused more on Thanos. And I was trying to avoid him. But then I played Leo, and it was a nail-biter game versus his, he has Avengers with Sentinel Prime in it.
Right, yeah.
And it was, like, super back and forth the whole time. Yeah. But I wound up squeaking that one out.
Nice. Yeah, I ended up playing also some guy that's new to our store, but is from another store. I forget which one he mentioned it was.
Is he from Mythicos? Everybody's coming from Mythicos.
No, he wasn't from Mythicos. He was from somewhere else. Maybe Morristown or something.
Oh, maybe. Okay, yeah. There's a few stores out that way, but
I forget what he meant. I think that he said Morristown.
Millennium, maybe.
Possible. I don't know what store he said, but he was super nice, pleasant to play with, and hopefully he comes back around again. But either way, it seems like people are now visiting us, which is cool.
Yeah.
So we're getting new faces. The community's growing again. You know, every time somebody talks or looks at Marvel stuff, I'm like, hey, you want to play? You know, get them in. I've been playing with new folks every week. So we haven't played together in a while, quite a while.
I think the last game we played was actually on TTS.
Yeah, so we have to play together, or play on TTS, or do something. But I think maybe next week we should like earmark, as long as I don't get picked up by another new player. That maybe I'll earmark us playing together.
Yeah, I got new maps. I have 4 maps now and a giant bag.
I know. It's good though for tournaments.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm trying to get enough prints or enough buildings for a third table, but I'm currently in an ongoing battle with my Ender 3.
Oh boy.
Sometimes it feels like working. Sometimes it's like, we're going to give this print a little difficulty. Like the print that came off today, the bottom level of a size 5 apartment/bar building. Like, it looks good, but there's like errors on it. So now I'm trying to tweak and figure out what the hell happened there. So it's annoying.
I'll take the error one. I don't care.
Well, it's only the first level. Like, it's literally like that high right now. It's Josie's Bar. That's what I'm trying to print right now.
Okay, cool.
So yeah. But I do have a new restaurant printed that I have to paint.
Nice.
I'm almost done with an ice cream shop, and I have a pet store also. And I reprinted my TARDIS, which is going to be a piece of size 2 non-interactable terrain, because you cannot throw a TARDIS. I will not allow it.
That's fair. I like it.
So that's that.
As long as it gets in the way of a Dormammu, that's all I care about, right?
Oh no, Dormammu can't hide behind it, but you can hide behind the TARDIS. So but Pyro came out. The card came out a couple weeks ago at this point, so we haven't had a chance to talk about it. So real quick, I've already professed my love for how I love things that let me set people on fire.
I think everybody realizes that Pyro is good, right? It's very clear that for a 3 cost, he's very good.
I mean, very glass cannon, but very good.
Very good.
Yes, and then
I like the fact that it says root on his card. That's what I'm most excited about, because like the amount of characters that can root in this game are not so many.
Criminally small.
And you know what I just realized today?
What?
So Art was playing, like 2 weeks ago, he was playing Amazing Spider-Man Web Warriors, so the slow one, right?
Yeah.
Pyro says root and slow.
Yeah.
He's so good on that team.
Yeah.
He's going to be so good on that team. I can't wait. I want to try that out, because I think now that we have him, we have another thing that can like slow consistently. That may, like, if that team gets enough of those, that might be the trick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Brotherhood's looking real good right now.
Brotherhood is looking really interesting. Yeah. If I was like a new player and I wanted to choose like Brotherhood, like this is a slamming time to be Brotherhood.
Yes.
Because they just have everything. They just have all the cool things. Like they can go super wide, they can go tall. They have like a killy team. They have an objective team. Yeah. And really, these new characters have great tech, right? Like it almost feels bad for Human Torch.
Yeah, like I wish Human Torch had what Pyro had.
Yeah, it's very interesting that in the design space they made kind of 2 characters that are similar, and it's
wildly different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. But like my hope now is that since we have original Human Torch and we have Pyro, when Fantastic Four finally comes out, we get a torch that's right in the middle.
Sure. Like
a good balance of both of them, because you have the extreme over here where I can't make fire but I can control it. Then you have an android who's very weak on Mystic Defense. Right. And all that. So if you put somebody right in the middle that has control over his fire, I think it'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally, Pyro isn't bad at anything other than like just he's got the normal like lowish 5 health, right? Like that's the only.
Yeah, but you got that 4 energy defense, which is nice.
Yeah, it's very nice. I don't. That's unnecessary.
Well, no, they explained it. They explained it's because of his insulated suit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
all right.
I'm looking under B for Blob on Cerebro, and I forgot it's under T for the Blob.
The Blob.
So annoying, because we really did not talk about him, but we'll talk about him real quick since again he's kind of old news. He's also very good.
Yes. No, I think we did talk about him. I remember going through his card.
Okay, then maybe we did.
Yeah, I think we went through his card because I remember talking about the bounce.
Oh, that's right. But you know what we didn't talk about?
The cards.
They're new cards.
Yeah, they weren't out yet.
Oh my god, these cards are great. One of them we've seen before. Let's just hit that one first. We have
Brace.
Yes, new artwork for Brace.
New artwork for Brace, that's nice. That's cool.
And new symbol in the corner for Brace.
Yeah, it just locks it in so that way it's going to be a card for the foreseeable future.
Yes. So, which card do you want to tackle? Pyrotechnics or Leapfrog? I'll read.
I want Leapfrog.
You want Leapfrog? Okay, cool. I'll read Pyrotechnics then.
Okay.
Because I love to set people on fire.
Yeah, totally. Leapfrog, unaffiliated reactive card. After an allied toad deals damage with an attack, an allied, the Blob, and Toad may each spend 1 to play this card. The Blob may advance short and make a strike attack.
So good. So thematic.
So, I mean, the situation is you're playing Toad, you punch somebody, Blob is on the other side of the board, moves and attacks somebody else. Yeah. Because it doesn't say they have to attack the same target. He just basically gets a free activation.
That is true.
He just gets to move and attack. It's so good.
Yeah.
For 1.
Yeah, and there's no range restriction.
No. So, like, the crazy thing is in the world of, like Toad having a lot of power, you attack, you leapfrog, Blob moves, attacks, you do a follow me, Blob goes again, gets another full activation, and it's just like, there's a body, a belly flop, goes crazy. Like, it's madness. There's feels like
a lot happening.
It's a very unhinged card for something like this. Like, usually there's more, like, red tape to go through.
Yeah.
This is literally just make an attack that deals damage, and then he gets a whole activation.
And then do more damage.
It's crazy. I don't get the card, right? It just seems like he doesn't need to be near him. There's no range. There's no restrictions on who he can attack.
I think one of the reasons this card does look so powerful is because you're really not going to use Blob other than a few circumstances outside of Brotherhood. Like, yeah, he's going to be good in criminals, which Toad is also good in criminals because he can steal stuff. So it's either you're not going to put them together on many teams. So it's going to be Brotherhood, it's going to be criminals. They're not going to be affiliated anywhere else. They're only affiliated for Brotherhood. So I think that's one of the reasons this card is getting up there, because the character-specific cards are very powerful now.
Yeah. But the crazy thing to me is, I just have to look up, I want to look up Toad real fast. But the thing that I find, that's crazy. Okay. So Toad has a size 2 wild push on his attack. And Blob has size 3 wild push on his attack. So there's a world in which you activate Toad last, move him up, knock somebody off a point, move Blob up, move somebody off a point, and now you're just winning, like,
sword base.
Yeah, or Terrigen Mists, right? And you just move them both off, and now you get 4 points, right?
Yeah.
That's so good. It's so good. It's so good, right?
That's because we're degenerate players that think of dumb shit like this.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. Or Toad does the incinerate, and then Blob walks over and punches the guy, and it dazes him. You know what I mean? Like, it could be off of Toad's first attack and still get a second activation. Like, there's so much wombo combo to this. It's crazy.
Yeah. And
because Toad has the 2-place hop, so he can hop and attack twice, and then the first attack, move Blob, attack the person if you need to, then attack again with Toad. It's just like, you know what I mean? It feels very good.
It feels real good.
It does feel really good.
And this was the card that I thought was going to be like the Brotherhood version of Heroes for Hire, and I'm so glad it's so much better.
I don't know if it's better, right?
Well, it's more
not
aggressive.
A bodyguard.
Yeah, but it's aggressive.
Yeah, it's definitely more aggressive. Yeah.
Like, there's a lot more, like, Comrade's Keeper, great card. But, like, it's going to be predictable. This one, you don't know when it's coming. You don't know where it's striking.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the best part, is that you could be on the other side of the board. As long as Blob's not dazed, that threat of him activating and doing his thing is, like, always alive.
Yes.
And the fact that he has a wild push, it's just, like, it could be so backbreaking.
Yeah.
It could be a very backbreaking card. I mean, it could do nothing, right? Like, an attack could do nothing. You can't rely on dice, but it could be awesome. And that's what I get excited for.
Exactly. All right.
So what do we got for you?
All right, so Pyrotechnics. unaffiliated, and active. Pyro may spend X power to play this card. That's already intriguing. So, for each power spent, choose an enemy character with the Incinerate special condition and within 3 of Pyro. Each character drops 1 objective token it is holding and is pushed short away from Pyro.
This is bonkers also. This is crazier. I wanted to get the less crazy one first, just because this is like the even crazier one. So there's a couple things here that I want to point out that are very important about this card.
Okay.
It doesn't say during Pyro's activation.
Nope.
So you can just be next to somebody that you want Pyro to just drop whatever they're holding.
Yep.
Right? So, because sometimes cards like this, like, for example, like Black Cat steals, the Creep Power Core, and now the Creep Power Core is on Black Hat, and you're like, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want her to die. I wanted to get the Power Core, but I didn't really want it on her, necessarily. Now you have the ability to be like, oh, my tanky guy that's standing right next to you, Pyro is just going to make your guy drop it. I'm going to pick it up on my tanky guy, get out of dodge, and push you away, right? Make you further away from me. Yeah.
It's real good.
It's so good. And then it's like, again, so backbreaking on a game like Cube or Spider Infected, where there's going to be a bunch of, objective tokens that people are holding, and it's just 1 per.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's 1 objective token per person. So if somebody is holding 3 hammers, you can only make them drop 1.
Yeah, but what I mean is it only costs 1 per person.
True.
That's lunatic. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's the amount of... That's unheard of value, right? Possession is threat value.
Yep.
Black Hat is 3 to steal.
Enchantress has something.
Quicksilver, her kiss is either 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Quicksilver's card, I don't know how much Quicksilver's card is.
I want to say it's 2.
It could be 1 or 2, but you still have to hit the guy to have it happen. It's not free.
Miles is an attack. The suspender.
Miles is an attack. That's 2.
Yep.
It's literally, but it costs 2 to do the attack. This is 1 energy, and they have to be incinerated. Which Pyro, we're not going over the card, but he already spreads incinerate.
If you're playing with Pyro, people are incinerated.
Yeah, and it's very easy to incinerate everyone around him.
Yeah. So
it's a crazy good card.
It is. I'm excited. Like, this box is like best box value since probably Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Hood Voodoo. Yeah. Like, real good.
Yeah.
A nice way to close out the year.
Side note that you mentioned that, I love Hood Voodoo, right? Yeah. Because so many people were like, I want Voodoo, not Hood, for, like, the people that wanted Voodoo, and then there were people that, like, I wanted Hood, not Voodoo. But then, like, once you start getting the full collection and you start, like, mixing and matching with the rosters, you realize that Hood and Voodoo are in just a lot of things, right? Like, a lot of things enjoy Hood and Voodoo. So it's just, like, that's such a good box. I feel like you're right about that Pyro and Blob is going to be one of those boxes that everyone buys because it's just great.
Yeah, like, and you know who loves Hood? Sentinels. They love Hood.
Yeah. I mean, Sentinels loves Hood. Dormammu loves Hood. There's so many...
Yep.
Midnight Suns plays Hood for the bleed, because then Blade gets it no matter allies or enemies, so he gets that.
Yep.
It is what it is.
A lot
it's
of
just
good synergies when you're mixing.
Strucker Hydra.
Oh god, yeah. Strucker Hydra loves anybody that
bleed
does
me,
anything.
I throw it, you know what I mean?
I throw my blood at you.
Yes.
Yes. But that's not all we got. Now we're going to go into in-depth on this guy. Logan the Wolverine.
All right, would you like to do this one, or do you want me to do it? Why don't you do it? I feel like I've been talking a lot.
Yeah, I'll do it. But this is going to be coming in the Weapon X, Weapon X program Rivals panel, but it's also the Weapon X affiliation box.
Correct.
Which is going to come with a bunker and a motorcycle and other stuff. So, we have Logan the Wolverine.
And Sabretooth.
Yes, and Sabretooth, but we don't have his card yet, so we're not talking about Sabretooth Apex Predator. So, Logan the Wolverine, James Logan Howlett. 4 physical, 4 energy, 2 mystic. I would like to point out that the cowboy hat reduces his mystic and increases his energy by 1. compared to regular Wolverine.
That's how that checks out.
That's how that works. 6 stamina, 4 threat, size 2, and moves medium. There are no changes on the backside as far as that goes. Actually, his whole card is the same on the backside and the front. So, I'll do. So the first power, or I'm sorry, the first attack is X slash. So it's range 3, melee physical attack. 5 power, or 5 damage, no power. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. So after the attack's resolved, character gains power equal to damage dealt. Standard. After the attack's resolved, place this character within one of the target character. I'll come back to that.
Yep.
And then Wild Pierce, which changes a hit critter hit critter shield result to a blank. So
yeah,
that place, it's free, no wild attached to it.
Right.
No damage needed. Just place an active attack.
I can tell you that from playing a lot of Iron Fist, I like Flying Kick a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So having a range 3 that places you to 1 is a lot of movement.
Yes.
It's a lot of free movement. And that you pointed out that the his first attack is 3 is very much better than base Wolverine. Yes. Now that I'm realizing that base Wolverine only has a 2.
Yep.
So that's a big deal. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, this is a real good attack. But this one, the second one, is like Tornado Claw from Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yep.
Gotta love it. It's a beam 3. So just a whirlwind of claws and elbows coming at you.
Yeah, beautiful.
7 dice, 4 power. After all attacks generated by this have been resolved, place this character within one of the last character targeted by this attack. We'll come back to that. It also has a Wild Pierce and a Wild Bleed.
Yeah, it feels great. I would love I'd love to beam a bunch of people with Wolverine. That seems real fun.
Yeah, and since you get to pick the order of the targets in the beam, you don't have to be at the last person targeted.
Or you mean the furthest away?
Furthest away, yeah.
That is a good point that I didn't pick up until you just mentioned that. That is very good. Yeah, so if you want to be on a point and that's the second guy in the beam, make that guy the last guy you target.
Yep. And it's also handy for bodyguards.
Yeah.
So things like that. Plus, you go in, you X slash, now you're placed within 1. Now, let's just say you have a beam lined up for 2 more people. You beam them. He's halfway across the board, just slicing things.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of movement, and he's getting a lot of... So that is kind of nice. With the X slash, you can place yourself and angle yourself in a way that lines up the beam better.
Yeah.
Which is always hard to do with beams, is like, all right, I can move to make the beam more efficient, or I can beam somebody twice and not hit, like, maybe the second or third person, right? Like, that's the consensus that you make.
Yeah.
But with this, you can at least attack once and then place yourself, so you're not, like, losing out on damage. Which is super nice.
It's such a good attack.
Yeah.
Such a good attack. Superpowers. You want me to keep reading, or you want to do it?
I'll do superpower.
Okay, you do superpowers.
All right. So the first superpower is an active. What I do isn't very nice. It's 3 energy, and it's an action that says this character immediately makes an X slash attack action after the attack is resolved. If the target character is size 3 or less, this character may throw the target short. This superpower may be used only once per turn.
All right. There are so many things in this attack this superpower that need to get unpacked.
Okay.
Things that you may or may not have thought of.
Okay, yeah, hit me with it.
Okay. So, first of all, this is a charge without calling it a charge.
Because the X slash is a moving place thing?
Exactly.
Okay.
So, according to the rules, the throw and the place resolve in whatever order the attacker chooses. So you can throw the character and then place.
Yeah, that is a thing that happens with Crossbones. So that checks out.
So, again, so much movement.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, just a ridiculous amount of movement.
So now that I'm thinking of that, if you have enough energy, let's say on Wolverine, you could potentially do what I do isn't very nice.
Yep.
Do the slash.
Yep.
Throw somebody into somebody else. Place yourself to then beam them.
Yep.
Pretty gross.
Yeah.
That's pretty gross.
Yeah. So it's so good.
Yeah.
All right. What's the next power?
Sure. His next superpower. So the rest of his powers are just innate powers. They're just going to happen all the time. The first one being Adamantium Skeleton, which is the same as his original and X-23, which is that when determining whether this character can be thrown or pushed by an effect or special rule, or when it's colliding with another enemy or another character or terrain, this character counts as size 3.
Yeah. Okay.
So he's just a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
But he gets to hide behind stuff, which is good.
Exactly.
I think it's... I don't know if it's a downside, if it's a negative or a positive. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a double-edged sword.
It's sometimes better on, like, you can't be pushed, because there's, like, only push size 2 characters.
I just want to check one
on
thing.
Stuff. Like,
okay. Keep talking.
No, it's just, sometimes it's better for against being pushed or being thrown. Some characters can only throw size 2 characters. Some can only throw 3 or higher or what have you. So
yeah,
it's going to feel bad when he's getting thrown into your own guys, but it's pretty much better in all other regards. And the fact that he could hide behind size 3 buildings still, I think is fine.
Yeah, I was checking to see if Weapon X program said Logan or Wolverine, and it is Wolverine. So is Fastball Special. But
yeah, those won't be able to be used.
But the card Wolverines can be used.
Says, yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, I was just checking that. All right, continue.
The next one is Get Out of My Head, which is the first time this character is damaged by an enemy mystic attack each turn. After the attack is resolved, other allied characters within 3 of this character suffer 1. Characters that suffer 1 this way gain 1 energy.
Yes. So, a little bit of a downside, especially with
definitely.
Defense.
I mean, you aren't bringing him into Convocation to begin with.
No.
So, I think it's fair to assume that if you see a lot of Mystic in the opponent and they see you're running Logan, it might be a reasonable thing to bench him.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you don't want to bring Loner Logan in that situation.
I think it's unreasonable to say that you're just going to keep him away from everybody, because that's just not reasonable to how the game plays out. Usually, even if there are 2 lanes of attack, you're still going to have somebody near him.
Well, or not within range 3, but up to range 5.
Yeah.
So if you have somebody backing him up like Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it depends on what your loadout is. I think that in Weapon X program, as an affiliation, they're probably going to be a lot of melee guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that it's not far-fetched to say that if you see a lot of Mystic in your opponent's team, you probably bench them. If you see like maybe one character that's Mystic, then maybe still bring them. Maybe harass that character with Logan, you know what I mean?
Set him on fire with Pyro first.
Yeah. But I don't think I think that a lot of people are like, oh, this is terrible, but I don't think it's that bad. Yeah. I don't think it comes up that much.
No.
And I think that if you plan for it, it won't come up.
Yeah. All right, what's the next one?
The next one is On the Hunt. Whenever this character makes an attack, if there are no allied characters within 3 of it, this character may reroll up to 2 of its attack dice.
Very good.
Awesome. Again, I don't know how often you're going to get it, same as Get Out of My Head. I don't know how many times you're going to have characters outside of 3. You're going to have to plan very strategically for that.
He is definitely not an every game piece. He is definitely I'm bringing him for a specific purpose. We are on a B map.
Yeah, I think if you're going wide, you're not really playing him as much.
Yeah, depending on the list.
Well, I mean, I guess the rerolls are nice, but not needed.
Listen,
is what I'm saying.
I would 100% play him in Daredevil Criminal Syndicate and keep somebody range 5 behind him. This way he's getting Daredevil rerolls and his own rerolls.
Yeah, that seems really good.
Yeah. Send 2 people to clean up a flank.
Yeah. And then he also has healing factor 2 and immunity to stun,
Yeah.
which stun is an annoying status effect. It turns off builders, so just that in itself is annoying.
Yes. Now, one noticeable thing that's missing from this card, a leadership.
Yeah, so we don't know if that's coming on a card.
It's not going to be Sabretooth. There's no way Sabretooth is the leader.
I mean, who knows?
I'm thinking a Convocation Corvus Glaive situation.
It's possible. It seems like they're fine with doing that.
Yeah.
I think that I might have to look up if Corvus Glaive takes up a card slot. It does, but the Convocation one doesn't.
No.
Yeah, so I guess that'll be a big point too to see if it does or not.
Because I think the Weapon X box is coming with something like 8 or 10 cards or something like that.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
So you're gonna have all your Weapon X cards just like Shield. I mean, the price tag on the box is $100.
Yeah, it's a bit expensive.
But I mean, Boardlandia has it on sale already for pre-order. I think for like $70. So unless you got store credit from winning a tournament.
I do.
Yeah. But no, I'm very excited for this Wolverine. Like, obviously he's going to be Weapon X. He's not going to be X-Men affiliated.
Yeah.
Because this is pre-X-Men Wolverine.
Yeah. I would say, in my personal opinion, I wouldn't pre-order it until we get Sabretooth's card.
Yeah, well, I'm not pre-ordering it yet, but...
Or some more information. I know that you can save money, and I know that... But I'd really hate for, like, somebody to, like, not like the affiliation and then kind of be stuck with it.
Or if you have a problem like me, you buy everything.
Expensive. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just bought Sentinels, but I plan on playing them, and I don't... And although a lot of people think that their affiliation is trash, I don't think so. Well, I think it plays to them because they really have to build up their power to then worry about the flip side, because then they start losing it.
Exactly.
That's when they start like hurting themselves and stuff. So I think they're fine. But in my personal opinion, to you,
what are you saying, Mike?
No, not you. I mean the viewer, listener, people out there. Wait until you see everything, and then, save up for it, or maybe skip over something else. Although don't skip over Pyro Blob. So no. I don't know. That one definitely get. I'm like locking that in. Yeah, everyone should be buying that.
Yeah. Plus the affiliation boxes come out the same month.
Yeah, I do. I mean, there is a. Like, I want to see if they do a Weapon X affiliation box. I don't know if they would do that, because that would probably shoot them in the foot with this box. But like
it wouldn't be right away. But like you'd have what?
But like let's say X-23, Honey Badger and
Deadpool.
No, just
they're not going to put these two in a box. They would put X-23, Honey Badger, Deadpool, maybe Omega Red.
Yeah.
Because once you get into like the weapon...
But I'm saying this box with the terrain and stuff at $100 is like a heavy... It's a heavy cost for an affiliation. I know it comes with the terrain, but if you have the terrain, it's a little bit of a feels bad. I won't get into like the semantics of the cost of the plastic miniatures we all play with, but they are a bit expensive.
No, they are, especially when you look at Fury Senior and the Howling Commandos. That's like $45 for one mini.
Yeah.
Guess who bought it? Me.
I'm painting it right now.
But like, I have become the terrain and map guy, so like, I gotta have the bunker because now I gotta get a military base.
I'm stuck buying all these miniatures, and I yet have to get like the swag acrylic tokens. I gotta figure out where everyone has those like secure extract ones. I really just need those.
Just the generic ones.
Yeah, I don't need necessarily all the energy and all that stuff. I just specifically want those generic tokens.
Yeah, see, I got the specific tokens, but the acrylic ones.
Yeah, I would be fine with that too.
Yeah, those I got them from Kago too.
Okay.
They're on Etsy and they have their own shop.
All right, I have to look. You might have to send that to me later. I want better tokens, because those are the only things that
I want the fancy measurement tools.
Annoys me. I don't really care about that.
I don't either, but I want them.
All right.
No, but I am actually I'm looking at different solutions for carrying my stuff. Like if we go to a tournament, or like if I go to ACO next year.
I will say I will get custom measurement tools if we could get like our GSG stuff on it.
Something to look into.
That if we can do that, that would be great. That'd be great. I want that, and I want GSG dice trays.
That's easier. We could do that.
I know. There's already websites that do it, but it's expensive also.
Yeah.
But I want to do that. I need to get the stickers, which I need to order.
Mm-hmm.
I need to look into
stuff.
How much the price would be. Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta look into that. But what I was saying, I do want to get like a new case for like going to tournaments and things like that.
Yeah.
Tournaments where I don't have to bring my own terrain.
Yeah.
Like ACO next year. If I was playing in my PAX Unplugged tournament, I would want to look at, because I can't bring my Craftsman toolbox full of stuff. So
I brought my whole box to ACO.
Well, yeah, but you have a nice case. I'm bringing literally like luggage.
Yeah.
So, but there's an issue that popped up recently.
Okay.
That I would like to talk about.
Okay.
My game last night. So I had a TTS game last night. Which, how are you doing in the TTS league, by the way?
I am currently 1-1, and I play tomorrow.
Okay. So
I don't know what my opponent plays. So
yeah. I didn't know what my opponent was going to play either. I'm currently 2-1, but my second win has an asterisk.
Okay.
So here's the situation. Played the game last night. I was playing Criminals. He was playing Malekith Cabal.
Okay.
Okay. We're playing. It's back and forth in round 1.
Yep.
I think he didn't daze anybody, but I had enough power because Sabretooth was running rampant because Sabretooth's in my list now. Okay. So at the beginning of turn 2, I used it all according to plan.
Right.
So I made a couple of mistakes in this game, which neither of us caught until today.
Yeah.
Okay. So I paid 2 power with Bucky for all according to plan.
Okay.
I shouldn't have done that because
he's not affiliated.
And I was going to pay it with Daredevil, but I'm like, wait, no, I want to save some power on Daredevil. Let me pay it with Bucky because I remembered Sabretooth couldn't pay, but I forgot Winter Soldier couldn't pay. Right.
Fair enough.
We didn't catch it. The game continued.
Yep.
So we're playing. He dazes my whole team in round 2.
Okay.
So round 3 is the clapback round. So it was Killmonger and Shadowland Daredevil basically taking on Malekith, because Malekith was fighting Hood over on the other side of the map for the entire game, and Hood refused to die. He was rolling blanks. He was juking. He did daze Hood, which made Malekith move over to the other side of the board and left him over there with the Hydra Troopers. But whatever. Malekith came over. Malekith had 2 hammers.
Brutal.
Bucky had a hammer, and Strucker had her hammer.
Okay.
So in order for me to win, I had to take out Malekith and Strucker, because that's how close the game was.
Okay.
So Daredevil attacks Malekith.
Mm-hmm.
He does a reroll, which you're not supposed to reroll into Malekith.
Right.
Neither of us caught it because we forgot. Because it was a heat of the moment kind of thing.
Yep.
He does coordinated strike. Ninjas come in. Now the first reroll didn't matter because it was a blank.
Okay.
Second reroll, or ninjas come in. They do an attack. They get a reroll.
Right.
They got a hit.
Okay.
Then Daredevil does his second attack. He did a reroll. He got a hit. So it dazed Malekith.
Okay. Did you overkill?
No, it was like exact kill because I watched the video again and did the math. Okay. So I'm fully admitting I'm in the wrong. Neither of us caught it.
Sure.
So I used Follow Me into Killmonger, picked up both hammers, dazed Strucker.
Okay.
Pick up the hammers, walk away, I win the game.
Right.
So I'm thinking good because we didn't catch it, whatever we're playing. We played it within the moment.
Right.
My opponent messages me today. Like, hey, listen, I noticed there were a couple of errors in the game last night.
Right.
And, I mean, they were potentially, like, big errors.
Okay.
So he's like, we're talking about it. He's like, go ahead.
They are big errors.
Yes.
I'm not going to, go crazy about that. But it's like, it's not like a cheating situation. It's not like you overmeasured or you know what I mean.
And it's not like I maliciously did it. Like it was accidents.
Right.
Yeah. So we're talking a little bit. Like, hey, would you mind doing a rematch?
Okay.
At first, I'm like, you know what? Sure, we could do the rematch.
Right.
So I'm at work when this is happening. So I'm at work. I'm in another Discord. I'm in talking to people.
Right.
And I'm telling the situation, and like, honestly, in your situation, I wouldn't have granted the rematch. Because if both players agree on the board state,
yeah,
it is what it is. In a live person event, and you realize 2 or 3 rounds later, hey, a mistake was made in round 1, you can't go back and rematch the person.
That is correct, and especially, I think in the rules of organized play, it is if you move on to the next round and you haven't, and it's like past a board state that you can correct.
Yes. Like, for example,
it is what it is.
Last season, I had a game versus somebody, and I used martial prowess out of range, and both of us just were like, okay, yeah, martial prowess, blah, blah, blah. We realized it before the round was over, so we basically reset the round.
Okay.
So, but it was like in-game. This wasn't like out-of-game, computers are shut off, we moved on.
Yeah.
So, I'm thinking about this all day. And like, part of me is like, yes, I should give him the rematch. The other part of me is like, again, in a live-action environment, like, you don't do that. Like, granted, it was 2 potentially game-winning mistakes. Like, I'll fully admit, if I hadn't done that stuff, the game may have turned out differently.
Correct. But it may not have.
It may not have also. Like, he could have whiffed an attack. Or, like, either way, it would have followed me into Killmonger, and then Killmonger could have done it. So, either way, like, things may have changed.
Correct.
So, I get home after thinking about this all day. I said, listen, I want to have a conversation. I said, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I don't think we should do the rematch. Because, and all the reasons I explained here.
Right.
So, at first, he's like, okay, that's fine. He's like, I'm a little disappointed, but okay. But then it slowly started to turn into like, well, all the errors benefited you, so it would be nice to have the rematch. So it started to get a little weird. Yeah. And I was like, and I left it at this. I'm like, listen, I said, I will grant you the rematch. However, originally what we were going to do was we were going to pick same crisis, same characters, same threat, but fresh board, same map. Like map rotation, everything. Sure. But just start the game over, which I'm thinking like that's kind of like 2 hours for like 2 moments, kind of excessive. So I said, listen, if you want to do the rematch, here's what we can do. I said, same rosters, fresh game. I'll wipe the stats from Longshanks, and we'll just play it like the first game never happened. He never got back to me.
Yeah.
Because his last message was something along the lines of, "Oh, I don't want a rematch. Like at this point, I don't even want the rematch." Blah blah blah. But like he was a good opponent. Like we enjoyed playing each other. So like I don't like that there's a sour taste in the air.
Sure.
But at the same time, like people I've talked to about this are like, yeah, like mistakes were made in the game. It happens.
Yeah, sure.
Like I just hate feeling like that.
I get that. So.
And this is like tournament
obviously,
mentality versus casual play kind of thing.
Right. And so obviously, I had a misunderstanding of the game for a very long time, where I was like cheating with Kingpin for a very long time, where I was spending a lot more power than I was supposed to reduce damage, and he was like the uber tank, right? Yeah. I think intent matters. I will play a little bit of devil's advocate for you here, so I'm not going to be 100% on your side because this is our podcast.
That's why I brought it up.
So what I would say is, I have no problem necessarily playing a rematch on something when I make a mistake. I think that the stakes are very low, so if my opponent did it to me, I'd be like, hey, man, next time we both missed this. Like, next time, just make sure you don't do it.
We've done that.
Right? Yeah, totally. And I've done that in tournaments. But I've helped the opponent. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, hey, man, this is what you should do, or this is, like, the kit situation.
Yeah, sometimes you just,
I've had people do that for me, right? Like, casually. Hey, don't use Plains of Poldak on Malekith because you can't re-roll against him, so it's going to be useless, right?
Exactly.
Like, shit like that. So I feel like these aren't like, this is a league, yes, but it's casual games. It's not even rated, so it won't even affect your Longshanks rating, depending on how you do. And I understand that there's like ego going on to some degree because it's like an international tournament and you want to do well and like you want to be like pseudo famous in this like this tournament sphere of Marvel, right? And so every loss and win matters even though it's unrated because it's like bragging rights.
Like the prestige.
It's prestige. It's bragging rights. It's like, hey, you show up at a tournament, they know you because they've seen your tournament results or something like that. You know what I mean? So there's like this, you know, for anybody who is interested in tournament play, there's a certain amount of like pride, I guess, that goes into the like wanting to win, right? So I think where he may be coming from is like, you know, I lost on a technicality. I you know, maybe things would have been better if it went my way, or maybe it wouldn't have happened, or maybe I would have won. And yeah, it doesn't mean much because this is just casual games. And maybe to us or to me or to somebody else, it wouldn't matter as much. But maybe to him it does. Maybe he's been playing for a long time. It seems like you mentioned that he's on another podcast, so there might be a little bit of ego. You know what I mean? Like he may just like want to do well because he wants to give this persona of doing well. I'm perfectly fine with having the podcast with not as many viewers as him, probably, obviously, and being like, hey, I lose all the fucking time. Don't listen to me, right? Like, but I'm having fun.
Hell,
right?
I went 0-3 in my last 2 tournaments.
Right. So it's like we suck, but we enjoy the game, right? Like we're not here trying to tell you what to do on the uber cutting level, and you know. Also, some of the advice we might have is actually good. We're just not very good at playing it.
True.
You know what I mean?
Like, we are very much the opposite of a competitive focused podcast. Like,
yeah,
yes,
exactly,
we are competitive, but we're not like, yes, I want to go to ACO next year, and now I'll be a year into the game, and like, I'm hoping I do very well. Like, I didn't get blown. Like, I at least won a game at ACO last year. I didn't get completely blown out, but I'm looking to do better.
So I think that where I'm coming from is that if this was a live tournament, like you said, and it was a mistake that happened that went through, it is what it is. It sucks. It feels bad. I don't like winning when I make a mistake, and it's because I made a mistake.
Yeah.
And I don't, you know, and losing also feels kind of sour when the person, like, we made a mistake. But the game is kind of complicated to the fact that, like, mistakes are going to happen. And this happens all the time in other competitive games where people make mistakes, and you know, if it was streamed, maybe somebody points it out and you're like, hey, yeah, you made a mistake. Like, this happens literally. I watch a lot of competitive 40K, and there's a big channel called Tabletop Titans, and they live stream their games, and there's a lot of times where the chat's like, hey, you fucking did something wrong, and they're like, oh shit, sorry. And they're like super competitive players. They're people that like one of their guys like is like a top finalist in Warhammer like pretty regularly. You know what I mean? So for him, he like should know all the rules, and he's still getting things wrong. It's because that it's just there's so many things going on when you're playing this game that it's like it's hard to have everything at all times.
No,
and
I'll be honest with you, when I first started playing with you, and then the whole Kingpin thing came up, and then I found out that Kingpin isn't invincible, I was super salty when I was home. I was like, that son of a bitch cheated. But I got over it. Like, because I'm still learning. I was still new. You admit, actually, when we came in the next week, you're like, oh, by the way, I can't do this with Kingpin.
I didn't know that either, and I felt like a dick. I was like, well, and then what happened? You started whooping me every week, mercilessly.
That's true.
And the thing is, too, is that, like, you don't necessarily know all the mistakes your opponent may make also, right? Like, so who knows if, like, obviously, maybe not in this instance, but, like, in instances where you play in the live and there isn't a replay, you may not know if your opponent made a mistake, and you're just, like life goes on. You know what I mean? Like, there's a level of malintent where it's cheating, and then there's a level of, like, I fucked this up, right? And I've played enough against Malekith players that have been like, hey, you can't reroll, or hey, you can't do this, or like, I do it, and they're like, you can't do that. And I'm like, oh, fuck, you're right. Like, my bad. It's hard to remember what the opponent's cards do all the time, right? Like, how many times have you tried to use a reactive superpower when Mystique is activated? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, or how many times have I tried the Helios loader somebody clear across the board because I forget?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, or like somebody has stealth, you know what I mean? And you're like, well, those dice you rolled are, you take them back, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and if it's within a reasonable amount of time, yeah, you roll it back, it's whatever. But
yeah, so
it was just an issue that came up, and again,
what I would honestly recommend, and this may not work for you guys, but you can pause the video and generally restack till right before the follow me, right? Like you could.
Well, it's not even that. It would have been to the beginning of round 2 when I did the all according to plan, because that was really what set in motion everything else.
But I mean, did you spend that 2 power on Daredevil to do something crazy?
The argument could be made that if I spent the 2 power on Daredevil, I wouldn't be able to have done the follow me.
I see what you're saying. Okay, so you can. So then. I guess so then reset it to the second round and just play that round over. That's what I would do.
But like I said, I mean, honestly,
and here's the shitty thing, right? Yeah. Like the shitty thing is that if you replay it, I mean, Malekith is a very strong piece that if you weren't ahead at the time, there's a good chance that he just like dominates you, and and it's gonna feel bad for you because it's like, yeah, fuck, Malekith spiked, right? Yeah. Like, and you're just like, fuck, yeah, whatever, you know, and like, and that's how it goes, and then. Like, I don't know. It's
a weird situation.
It's definitely a weird situation with somebody that is very aggressive about that problem. When, and I get it to a certain degree, and I don't to a certain degree. So, I don't know if you want to move this into our next or our broader topic, which was tournament play versus.
Well, yeah. That's why I brought it up.
So I think that even when you're playing this game with a competitive mindset, that like you have to be having fun in the game, and if you're so engrossed in the game that like a loss is going to like cause you like emotional despair, don't play competitively.
Yeah, and this is honestly one of the first games I've played competitively since, and I'm not even like competitively in quotes.
Sure.
Like I've been playing monthly tournaments like 2 or 3 times a month for probably about 6 to 8 months now.
Right.
And I'm having a good time, and I have not won one yet. Like I haven't even placed yet. I'm just playing because my problem is I used to like to jump from affiliation to affiliation because like I have all the models, I want to use all the models. Yeah. Now I'm starting to kind of focus on a couple of affiliations and go from there. But like the last game I played competitively in real person live action real places was original series HeroClix. Like when Marvel and DC all came, I was like top shit in HeroClix, like in the state.
The last thing that I've played competitively in person is Dance Dance Revolution. In high school.
Wow.
And that's absolutely the truth. I don't play tournaments. I would play Halo 2 semi-competitively in like online leagues and stuff like that, but I wouldn't say that was competitive necessarily. There was no money at stake. Literally the only thing that I've ever played where I put money in and could win money out was Dance Dance Revolution.
Yeah.
In high school. And pretty much the rest of my career has always been interested in playing games well. And I've always been very proficient in the games that I play.
Yeah.
But I've never like put money on the line. I've never put much. Like I've always had somewhat of a pride in winning. Like I'm very competitive when it comes to like board games, even when I play casually with friends. Like I'm very. I have like a competitive mindset, and I have a desire to win, but I don't necessarily let that engross or overshadow the fact that I do this for fun. And there may be a point where I'm salty about losing, and I'm like, man, I should have done this, blah 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 blah. But it fades very quickly. You know what I mean? It's like, shit, I should have done this, I should have done that.
A perfect example is a few weeks ago I was playing a tournament against Noah.
Yeah.
And I had a choice. It's like, okay, do I pick up the 2 hammers and run? I had 1 action left. So I'm like, do I pick up the 2 hammers and run? Or, because one was on 1 health and one was on 2 health and I had Crimson Dynamo. I'm like, do I try to beam them, kill them both?
Right.
I made the wrong choice. I went for the beam. I should have picked up the hammers. And, like, right. I knew as soon as I did it, I did the wrong choice. And, like, it bothered me probably until Tuesday. When I saw Noah again, I'm like, I should have picked up the fucking hammers. But then I was fine.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, and frankly, since you pointed out the Winter Soldier thing, we talked about this before. I made a mistake in our last tournament that I got second place, which is I used all according to plan, and I used some power off of Doc Ock. I'm definitely sure I did.
Yeah.
At least in one game. I'm not sure if I did it in the second game.
It's weird that Green Goblin's affiliated and Doc Ock isn't.
I agree with you, but yeah. I like playing Doc Ock and Green Goblin together in Criminal Syndicate specifically. So anyway, I definitely did that. I totally forgot. And the next time I play that guy or I see him, I'm going to point it out to him that, hey, I fucked this up. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had enough energy on everybody, but it was just better to use Doc Ock because he doesn't have a lot of things to spend it on.
And honestly, using the energy on Winter Soldier prevented me from being able to use a Got Your Back or whatever the hell he has. So I was like, damn it, I spent the energy. And I even said, I spent the energy on Winter Soldier. Yeah. And he was down to 1, so I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And even then, if we would have caught it then, I could have been like, oh, okay. But like...
Yeah, to be fair, though, some affiliation team tactics cards, some you can use characters that are unaffiliated and some you can't. And I'm not in the weeds about each and every one of them. And if like, I don't know, if I'm playing Guardians of the Galaxy and somebody uses Crew of the Milano and they target somebody not in Guardians that is unaffiliated on their team, I wouldn't think to catch it. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that kind of shit. Like sometimes you can, sometimes you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that everyone just has to be, try to be as responsible as they can. It's just hard to catch every little thing, especially when you're in the game and you're so focused on like, I got to move here and I got to move there. There have been whole games, my whole last game of playing Defenders on my TTS thing, I talk about how I didn't use the affiliation once. Now I was playing against Strucker, so giving them Hex just to give it back to me is probably a bad play. But I totally forgot about I played entire games where I forgot about affiliations. Happened to me this week when I played A-Force. I could have probably killed Malekith with Scarlet Witch, but I didn't have enough energy on her, and I totally forgot A-Force's energy ability. So I could have flooded her with power and been perfectly fine, but I totally spaced on it, right? Like, there's so many levels to this game that sometimes I just forget. If it's not, like, built into my game plan, I sometimes forget of, like, all the mechanics.
And I'll tell you, because of this, I'll tell you right now, I'm always going to remember that I can't reroll into Malekith.
Yeah, exactly. No, but that's how the game is. Yeah. It's like, experience drives you to understand to do that, and it might be an inexperience on his part of playing Malekith, because the Malekith players that I've played, they're very aware of the fact that you can't reroll, and they see me go to pick up the dice, and they're like, "You can't reroll," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay, cool." Yeah, like it's.
Yeah, there's a lot of different factors, and like, but I just
if your character has a defensive ability and you forget about it, you know what I mean? It's like it feels bad that the character attacking you has to remember that necessarily. Yeah. Like for example, if somebody has stealth, I always point out, hey, my character has stealth. Maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you want to move. Maybe you want to do this.
Mm-hmm. Which I also, that's one thing we both have to stop doing, is giving our opponents like, hey, why don't you use that guy instead, or something like that. Like, tell them that you have stealth, but at the same time, be like, don't give them hints on what to do.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't mind doing that, and I do that in tournaments. I might.
That's what I'm saying. Casual play, whatever, but like tournaments, we gotta stop doing that, man.
I don't mind doing that. I don't want to. Again, I mean, I guess that there's definitely a spot of like, you're winning tactically, and like maybe telling somebody how to beat you isn't the best thing to do, but I also like to try to win on everybody's best. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you're like, hey, I'm playing against you, but I don't know exactly how everything works, and so my thing is like, let me make sure you know all the things I can do.
Oh yeah.
So that way, if I choose to do them, and sometimes it's a little bit red herring shit. So sometimes it's a little bit like, hey, I could do this. So it floods your mind of like, oh shit, he can do this. You know what I mean? And maybe I'll never do it. Or maybe I will. You know what I mean? Like, there's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But I like giving people all the information. Now, it may be information I'm not going to use, but at least you have it to make the decision that you want to make. That's how I feel.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
And most of it just comes from the fact that there's, over 100 characters.
Yeah, and however many tactics cards.
Yeah, exactly, and it's like it's hard to keep up everything,
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I mean, I don't know if this dude's ever gonna. I don't want to name him by name, but like I don't know if he's ever gonna listen to this. But yeah, like I said, I would definitely play again, but we'll see what happens as far as this goes. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I don't, it sucks. It sucks for both parties. Like it's not. It doesn't feel good.
Exactly.
And
but
you just move on.
Exactly.
I mean, whatever.
It happens. But while we're on the tournament mindset here, this Saturday we do have a tournament at East Coast Gamers.
Yeah, which I think I'll be going to.
Nice. They always have a good turnout there. And then we have ours at Red Seal Thanksgiving weekend.
Which I may not be able to go to anymore, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. And then I believe Rob is having one the weekend before at RNG.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the Wonder Packs Unplugged, December 2nd, is almost full. Because there's only 16 slots and 12 of them are filled up.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah, so that should be fun. There should be more information coming on that soon. It is up on the PAX schedule. So if you go
good.
Yeah, if you go up on PAX Unplugged and you look at the schedule, it is there. It's Friday night. I believe it's starting at 4. We'd like to start by 4:30. And then we got to be out of the building before midnight because it's a hard out. So it's only going to be, I think, 3 or 4 rounds depending on time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and there's a one-night deal, LVO points, so it should be fun.
That's cool.
Yep. But yeah, other than that, I think that is all for this week.
All for this week. We went over a lot.
We did.
Yeah, it was a heavy week.
Yeah, and we're trying to get back to an every other week schedule, hopefully soon.
Yeah, I think we will.
We're averaging twice a month, not necessarily every other week.
All right, that's good enough.
Yeah, that's good enough for now. But yeah, I'm Will.
I'm Mike.
And we will see you next time.
Have a good one.